It is time.
It's
March Madness is right around the corner. March Madness.
Hey, listen up! It's time.
March Madness is right around the corner. We have the conference championship tournaments this week, and then we get the bracket on Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
Boom. Selection
So,
it's
Sunday
coming
on
fast.
Sunday.
We're doing a bracket challenge, $500. It's completely free. If you're watching this video, if you do brackets, if you do the tournament challenges, look in the description of the video. We're going to have a link. All you have to do, click on it, put in a bracket, just use the email you're subscribed to the channel with. Obviously, if you're not subscribed, do that now. It's a free entry, $500 free roll. But right now, it's the last week before they come out.
Last week, baby.
This week.
And we get to bet on who's going to win the conference tournaments.
yeah.
So I want to go through the 5 main conferences, SEC, ACC, Big 10, Big 12, and Big East,
Beast.
and give out our picks to win these tournaments. Ryan, I want to start with you, and I want to start with the SEC. Clearly been the most competitive conference with the best teams in college basketball.
Oh, yeah, for sure, 100%. Like I said before, SEC most likely is going to win the tournament. It's going to be hard to dethrone one of these guys. But,
continue.
The Clemson will try. My pick for this conference, I love Alabama here.
Ooh.
I got them at plus 500.
Yep, that's what they're at right now.
I just think that they already proved they could beat Auburn on the road, which I think was probably the hardest game of the entire year, especially late. It was all the seniors' last home game. So I think this was huge for Alabama, and I think they're the team. They've already done it last year. They've shown they could beat any team in the country.
Final Four.
Yeah, Final Four with the pretty much same team, just a better depth at bench.
Yep.
Not Mark Sears and Grant Nelson having to do all the work now. So I just think they're the team to beat right now in the SEC just because of how good they are, and they're the only team that could score at will. All the other teams have to have good games somewhere to score.
You'd put them as the team to beat over Florida and Auburn.
Correct, over
Wow.
Florida too. Florida's been really hot, don't get me
I was
wrong.
going to say, Florida's on fire.
No, Florida's been really hot. I just think Alabama's the most battle-tested, and Florida's a team that they haven't gone that deep. They could lose one of these tournament games and still be fine and make a run in the
Well, I mean, they're going to be a
three seed at worst. Yeah. So I think Alabama, I think this is the year where they're just too dominant, and I think this is when they get the seed, they're going to want that 2 seed. So
5
I
to
think
1's
they'll get
juicy,
there.
too.
Yeah, 5 to 1's juice.
Yeah, I just couldn't get away from Auburn. I'm not in the business of picking heavy favorites in college basketball, especially not when March Madness comes. But I think I've been pretty consistent on Auburn, at least for the last month and a half, to the point where I think this is by far the best college basketball roster I've seen. And I would even extend this the last couple years, including some of those UConn teams.
Damn,
I think
that's
UConn, a lot to do with coaching, which I'm going to get into in the later part of the show when we talk about the Big East. I'm obsessed with Dan Hurley. I think he's the best coach in college basketball by far. But this Auburn depth, like their entire team, there's so many different players that can go out there and not only give you double figures, but score 15, 20 points, 10 rebounds. It's the deepest roster in college basketball, in my opinion. So even though they've lost 2 in the last week to A&M and Alabama, right? Mm-hmm. I love plus 140 for them to win. They're the favorite. They get the double or triple bye or whatever it is. So yeah, give me Auburn plus 140.
Yeah, I'm actually on a pretty similar boat with Auburn here. I think they're just the most dominant team in the nation, personally. I know they lost to Alabama recently, but I kind of just see it as almost a hiccup in the road. Like, no teams go undefeated in college basketball.
And they beat them earlier this year, too.
And they did beat them in the first time that they played. So it's like, they have the game script to do it. Again, I understand that the most recent time they were upset by a couple points, but I think they lost by 4, right?
Something like that.
Yeah, it was a pretty close game. But I think, in general, they have the skill. They've shown consistently that they're a top contender in the nation. And you're crazy if you don't think I'm going to sprinkle a low like $4 on Texas, hook 'em horns. But I mean, Rodney Terry
Plus 30,000.
Plus 30,000.
Plus 30,000.
Plus 30,000. Rodney Terry
Jesus Christ.
might be stupider than, a vaccinated squirrel.
That's pretty stupid.
Yeah, pretty dumb. So
6 and
I
12.
hate you,
Some
Rodney
people
Terry.
might call that a genius. Just
I hate
I don't
you,
know if
Rodney
the
Terry.
vaccination
I want
might
you.
increase the intelligence of the squirrel.
Yeah, I know.
I think
Good
just a
point.
regular squirrel is pretty dumb.
I mean, anything's better than Texas's 6 and 12 conference record.
yeah.
It's
Also,
so atrocious.
I would bet any bet that was 4 to win $1,200 or whatever the hell you bet.
That's what I'm saying.
300 to 1,
It's
right?
Yeah, 30,000. So
Yeah,
3,000.
there
not
you
a
go.
bad bet.
Mario, where are you looking here?
I'm on the same wavelength as Ryan, actually. I was looking at Florida or Alabama. I like the way Alabama's looked recently. I know early in the season, Auburn, all season they've
Pretty
looked like
much
the
the entire
strongest
season,
team.
yeah.
But, coming off back-to-back losses, I don't like the way they're trending. And I always have a feeling about these teams. It's really hard to remain at the top consistently the entire year. That's what's so impressive about these past couple of years with UConn, how they've been able to so consistent.
Ukon.
But usually it's the teams that are really good, but we're never like the top team, and then get hot as they're rolling into the tournament. I think Alabama's that team, like what Ryan said earlier. They're the team that I like in terms of scoring the basketball. Their team can put up a lot of points.
Oh, yeah.
From a lot of different places. I just think you get a lot of good value at 5-1. So
Yeah, I also me and Mike were at the Alabama Clemson game for the Elite Eight, and I just watched Mark Sears put up like
He's
a
so
billion points from three.
he's
So
He's
I
so
have
good.
PTSD. I can't pick Bama. Moving on to the ACC. Obviously, Duke, the overwhelming favorites.
Yeah.
They're the team everyone's obsessed with. Ryan, are you going with the favorites here? I think it's minus like
340.
330.
yeah, minus 340.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. I just think now this is the team that I think is the best team in the nation, only because
I think a lot of people are hopping on that bandwagon now.
Yeah, I just think Auburn. I mean,
I might join you.
Auburn's really solid. I just personally think that they just don't. Their team isn't as fluid. They win a lot of games with like heart and just like strength as a whole team.
They blow out a lot of teams.
Yeah, Duke is a team that's like, dude, they play so well together, and they're so. When they're down, it's like never a worry. Like they've been down 10, 12 in spots like a couple last games, and they always come back and win. Cooper Flagg, I think, is just unstoppable.
player in college.
Best
Yeah,
player.
and he could do
Oh, yeah.
everything. It's not just the points, not just the rebounds, not just assists. He blocks, steals. It's literally everything all around. And this Duke team, I think, just has something going for them. I just think personally, the only team that is going to test them is Clemson. I just have a weird feeling in these type of weird ACC games that Clemson might lose a game, like maybe in the second or third round, and something might fall. Even if they don't, I just think Duke is too dominant for Clemson, and it won't even matter that much. I think Clemson will be fine, but I think Duke's just the best team. And the ACC, I think, has a bigger like jump from
Skill
one
gap.
to
Yeah, I
whatever.
mean, you could say it. The ACC has been completely terrible this year. Also, one of the craziest stories in college basketball is Louisville, who won 8 games
fire.
the year before and ended this season. In the regular season, they are 25-6 with an 18-2 conference
what a
record. He won
flip.
ACC Coach of the Year. So yeah, Louisville's been impressive, but yeah, no, Duke's hard to get away from. They're 19-1 in the conference, which is impressive. So you obviously have to bet on the team that they lost to, which is the Clemson Tigers at plus 650. Look, we absolutely handled this Duke team. Cooper Flagg slips on the court and
was
turns
in
over the
Clemson,
ball.
right?
Yeah. He slips on the court and turns it over when it matters most. We've seen him do it.
Home field advantage.
A couple losses this year. You got to ride with the Tigers. Obviously, I understand Clemson's history in the ACC tournament is terrible. Even last year, when we went on our crazy run in March Madness to the Elite Eight, we lost to Boston College in like the second round of the tournament or something ridiculous. We never do well in these.
Yeah.
But this is the best season we ever had. So I kind of have to throw everything out the window for preconceived notions. We had Chase Hunter, first team All-ACC, Ian Shefflin, second team All-ACC, Jaden Zachary, all-defensive team. He was in the running for Defensive Player of the Year for the conference. Most wins in regular season history for the program. So I love getting 6.5 to 1. I'm going to be riding the Tigers hard. A, because I've watched every game this year and I really like the team. But B, because we've actually beat Duke before. So I think if Duke's going to drop a game, I think they might not go into that game as confident as the other ones, just because they already lost it. Not like they're not going to play hard for the rest, but that could be a game if we match up in the championship that there's a little PTSD going on.
All right. So for the ACC, stick with me on this little journey here because I got to take you on a little road.
Okay.
So imagine that you're growing up in Soviet Russia back when it's Soviet. And
Thanks for the explanation when you said
communistic.
Soviet Russia.
And so, if you're growing up for the developmental years and you're hearing all this propaganda, you get in the back of your mind like, man, maybe this Russia stuff is, great. Communism's great. Like just no classes everywhere. And that's kind of how I feel sometimes living with a Clemson fan. It's like this Clemson team is the best team ever assembled.
You feel
Greatest
like
team
Soviet
You
Russia.
feel like communist Russia.
Also,
he
Whoa,
feels
whoa,
like
whoa,
Soviet
wait.
Russia when it was
also,
Soviet.
let's get this
That
straight.
was the best.
Also, we're starting the clip like 20 seconds after the whole monologue of, I feel like I'm in Soviet Russia and I like it because, I love the, that's where we're starting.
Also, I'm not ever the guy to say Clemson basketball is the best in the world. That is me with like other sports like football. You can ask Ryan. We watch every Clemson basketball game. I have severe PTSD.
I think the other night you literally said this.
This
the
team
greatest
is a little
ever
different. This team-
assembled.
This is the best Clemson roster ever assembled. This is definitely. I'm never saying we're better than Duke. We're better than any of these teams.
Oh, all right. Well, in my
Mike's just
propaganda,
blinded by all the propaganda.
Yeah,
That's
my
all that's what
propaganda
happens,
in
I
when
do
in
spew a
Soviet
lot of
Russia.
Clemson propaganda.
the brainwashing muddles my thoughts.
Fair
so,
enough.
but here's the thing: is I have a theory with smaller but really rich schools during this NIL era, if you will, and one of those schools in the ACC is another Texas school called SMU or SMU.
They are
And, you know,
really rich.
they are
They're
extremely
really
rich.
Yeah.
They are plus 6,500, so 6,500 in odds. And I feel like their richness is spewing over into the public. They're a little sleeper. Everybody's sleeping. It's past midnight
Kinda like it.
everywhere.
I like SMU.
I like the
my team.
Stang. So let's go
Beat
Stangs.
the brakes off him. I love that. Mario.
Wow, what a journey.
Yeah.
Not much to repeat after what Ryan said. I'm on me and Ryan 2 for 2 right
I
now,
like it.
but
Stay hot.
Hey,
I like
banging.
Duke. Cooper Flag, in my opinion, best player in college basketball.
He
so.
is. Yeah, for sure.
Dog.
Ryan, now this is your conference, the Big Ten.
Oh God.
When you look at this Big Ten, I feel like there's quite a few teams.
This
that
is a
could win
solid
I think
group.
this is
Solid
a real coin toss type of thing. It's similar to the SEC in my opinion, where there's a lot of teams that could win.
Yeah, very solid group. I think. It's gross solid. Like there's no dogs or
very
studs.
gross
They all
solid.
lose to each other throughout the season. Personally, I'm gonna ride with Illinois. I got them at plus 6.
No Ohio State.
No, I mean I'll bet Ohio State, but don't bet Ohio State. Like you're welcome. You don't need
Clip that up. Make him say,
Hey.
get rid of the don't. Just mute the don't and say, bet Ohio State.
Yeah,
no, I'm throwing that in for every football season.
sure.
Sure,
Do it. I mean,
episode
It
clip.
doesn't matter.
and-
Yeah.
do whatever you want.
Don't bet Ohio
Don't bet
State.
Ohio State and they'll go to the championship. That's a good point. Illinois plus 650 here. I think just as coaching and the team's depth, I know they got new stars, lost Terrence Shannon last year, but they've done this before. They looked great last year in the tournament. They have flipped as a basketball school. They've looked really good lately. And I just think all these other teams, they beat all these other teams. Nothing jumps off the page like Maryland or Wisconsin just had a bad loss. I just think this is one of those crapshoots where you can get better odds team, and I'm just going to go with Illinois with depth and a good coach. So, personally speaking, that's the only reason why I'm hopping on Illinois.
Yeah, I'm all over Maryland here at plus 430. The end of the year, they ended pretty strong. They played a really close game with Michigan State, who's the odds-on favorite, and they took care of Michigan, who's the one right there as well. I think they can pull this out. I really like 4.3 to 1 on your bet, but this is probably the smallest size bet with the least conviction of any conference because I really don't think any of these teams, Michigan State maybe, but I'm not a believer, are going to make a huge run in the tournament. I could see a UCLA in like a March Madness setting. But I think so many of these games are going to come down to really, really close.
Yeah, dude, Oregon
scores.
could play a close game.
Yeah, so
Indiana,
for the conference tournament specifically, it's a lot different than March Madness, where you're getting good team versus one of the low mid-major school conference champions that's won 30 games but has no one above
Like McNeese.
6, 7. Yeah,
Yeah.
well they're
McNeese.
nice. I would take McNeese over
McNice.
like all these teams. But yeah, give me Maryland.
All right, so I mean, when we're talking about college basketball here, I feel like there's so much more depth than just how do they play basketball.
Yeah.
A lot of it is like
that would make sense.
a lot of it is like momentum and the crowd and stuff like that. And
Crowd.
one of these teams in this lovely conference, the Big Ten, has a coach or had a coach that is now the name of an award called the Wooden Award. I feel like UCLA will be able to channel the spirit of John Wooden, and they, as a team, will come together and plow like a snow plow through the Big Ten, open it up, bang.
Yeah,
I have them
Plow through, open up, and
I like
bang.
Deep
Cronin,
sleeper
I like-
plus 750.
You know how Michael works.
Let's go
I
Bruins.
like the coach.
Mike's
I
a
like
deep
Nick Cronin.
sleeper, plowing,
He's
open
cool.
up and banging
What?
Mike does like to plow things. Mario,
in his deep sleep.
we've all picked a different team so far. So why don't
Bruins.
you just make it 4 different ones?
Why don't I just do that? No, I wanted to go Michigan State, but that was too lame, so I decided I'm going to go with the homer bet, and it's the same as Mike's pick.
Oh.
UCLA
Hey.
plus 750.
Shout out
Fight,
intern
fight.
Johnson.
Shout out
Intern
Intern
Johnson.
Johnson. No, I did it for
Intern
Intern Johnson.
Yeah, you got to do it for him.
He's here in spirit.
Big 12. Now, this is a conference I feel like could go
Oh yeah,
a couple different
Oh
ways.
yeah, it's gonna.
I know Ryan's not betting Houston.
No chance in the universe of the world.
Tell the people a little about Houston, then tell them what you're betting.
Let me tell you something about Houston. I turn on the TV almost every 2 to 3 days
In the evening.
in the evening, and I see Houston playing a game where
Yeah.
they're 13-point favorites and they're up by 1 with like 4 minutes left.
Yeah.
Now,
And
dude-
crime scores.
And Crime, LJ Cryer, we call him LJ Crime. No reason.
Because he steals our money.
Yeah, he steals our money. No, I live bet them every time, and they win by exactly 5 or 6 as 13-point favorites. It's a weird dynamic I have with Houston, but they're not a deep team. They're not a team that I think is going to run deep in a tournament. I think a team like a Arizona at plus 1,000,
now
or
we're
even
talking.
throw out
Now
Kansas
we're
at plus
talking.
1,100.
No,
Those two teams I actually love. I might sprinkle both of them because it's just 10 to 1 or 11 to 1. I think they both have players that can score at will, and Caleb Love and Hunter Dickinson. And I think both these teams have they started off really rough for the season. I think they both bounced back, and I think that come to the tournament, I think Houston's going to be slow. I know Baylor's up there, but I just think the team is Arizona. I've been betting on them all preseason for their to win all the way go through. I like Arizona, but I like a sprinkle of Kansas too.
Go Cats!
I hate Texas Tech and Iowa State.
Yeah,
Go Cats!
You're betting Arizona too?
Oh, I'll let you
Go ahead.
Please.
Go
No,
ahead.
please.
No, just go ahead if you're picking Arizona.
Oh, I'm picking Arizona. Shout out brother-in-law Andy. Went to Arizona from Arizona. This
Shout
one's
out.
for you, buddy.
Shout out,
Let's go, Caleb Love. Bang.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we've all been
We bang.
brainwashed by the Caleb Love effect.
Yeah.
We just watch them too much. I know I'm a square for betting Arizona as well.
No,
I know I'm a square.
No,
I'm
you're
taking
not.
them
You're
plus
not.
1,000.
You're trying.
My logic is this, and this is flawed basketball logic, because I know Houston is definitely the best team, but I've heard too much anti-Houston propaganda from the guy to my direct right. I just think Arizona can score. I've seen Houston have problems scoring the basketball. Granted, they're the best defensive team in college basketball.
Yep,
I'm not a big Texas Tech guy. I do like Iowa State, but I just think 10-1 with Arizona is good enough odds to take the shot that they just get hot for a 3 or 4 game stretch. But this is also a team that totally could lose their first game.
Oh, 100%.
Like, could definitely lose their first
Caleb
game.
Love
of the
goes
tournament.
1 for 13.
I don't really
Yeah.
think Houston loses their first game. So, if you're going with safer money, I think Houston plus 110 is honestly kind of generous.
Or DJ hours.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, if you're, if
plus
you're
1,000.
lame and
Arizona,
boring.
is it consensus?
Oh God.
Come on.
We can't consensus Caleb.
Come on, baby.
You can't consensus.
I mean, there's
can't
no
consensus
way.
Caleb Love.
Consensus
No.
Caleb Love.
I was
on.
tempted. I was tempted with Arizona. My
Kansas.
hesitancy with the team is that they can go 2 for 23 or 25 for 26 from 3. Like this
That's
team's so
amazing.
bipolar.
I love it.
And just like Tyler said, they could outright just lose like their first game. No one would like bat an eye about it.
Yeah, you wouldn't even
Kansas
think
is
about
good. I just something about their team. It just doesn't flow offensively. I thought they were better last year. Truthfully, I mean, Hunter
They
Dickinson's
were
good.
much better last year.
Houston to me is probably like the best overall defensive team, but they're always the same thing like every year. Are they going to win this tournament? I mean, obviously they're the favorites for a reason. I think a good team that can test them is Iowa State. So I like
agree.
Iowa State. They have a lot of people that can score the ball. They always any college team that can
5-1
like
there.
consistently put up like 75, 80 points like without even really stressing, I think is just like always a safe bet. Like they're always, no matter what, going to be in a game. They'll never be out of it. Arizona could be out of it. I mean, they lost to Iowa State like 2 days ago by like 20.
No, they
You know what I
can
mean? Like it
lose
wasn't
any
even
game.
wasn't
No.
even a game.
Yeah, no,
So-
Iowa State 5-1 is not terrible. I
So
don't think.
yeah, I like Iowa State.
Yeah, and last conference, the basketball conference, the non-football major conference, the
know.
Big East. This has been a conference that has had absolute rock stars in it the last couple seasons.
always.
You've seen, Villanova, Creighton, UConn, etc.
Xavier, all of
Xavier,
them.
and now
Marquette.
the top dog is St. John's, 6th team in the country. Everyone is all over St.
They're
John's.
all over it.
Ryan, are you picking the favorite here?
Absolutely not. This is my only Ryan guarantee that the favorite won't win the tournament.
It's plus 150, so you're saying fade that.
Yeah, fade that. I 100% think this is a terrible pick. I know
I'll bet you $50 they do.
just
Oh.
straight up.
Yeah, the field.
At plus 150 or?
No, you
the
already
field.
should.
Oh, so you just took
The
worse
field.
odds? All right.
I just noted.
Oh, wait.
Sure.
No, you got better odds.
No, I didn't.
No, you got worse odds.
No, I
So
got
worse odds.
Yeah,
You
worse
just
odds.
won
Yeah,
50
No,
odds.
my brain wasn't working. I forgot which side of the bet he just
I mean,
took.
also,
But yeah.
I let him have the field, which is insane.
Well, that's just the same. Never
I
mind.
mean,
it's
yeah, there's no
insane.
difference.
Never mind.
Yeah, I just think all these teams have.
You took St. John's even money.
Instead
Is
of
what is the bet you just took?
well, almost
Yeah.
minus money.
no
Even
you
money.
took
Even
even-
money.
So you win $50
I'm saying
and you bet $50.
you took St. John's even money and they're plus 150.
Okay,
That's what I'm saying.
So you would have won 75 if you just
I'll-
bet St. John's.
I'll explain to you guys later. 'Cause I
Okay.
don't think we're following my logic.
Okay.
Great, thanks, Mike.
Great, perfect.
Ryan,
great.
continue.
Yeah, I just personally think the St. John's team isn't that great. Now, I think they'll make a tournament run. I think they're a good team together. I just think one of these other teams can easily beat them. They're all actually pretty solid. They're all middle of the pack teams. Marquette, I think UConn, obviously great coach.
Yeah.
But Creighton, I really like. They're one of my sleeper teams in the other episode. I just think all these teams can beat St. John's. St. John's isn't anything special, in my opinion. They're having a really good run this year with a really good coach. Their team isn't that good. I think their players aren't that great. So I just think in a tournament where there's a reason why it's plus 410, plus 410, plus 5. Like I think anyone could win. I'm just really against St. John's, and that's why I'm rocking with Creighton because that's my team that scores. But I
Yeah.
just think any team is a good bet.
Yeah, I think St. John's makes it to the finals of the tournament, but I don't think they're going to win.
That's perfect.
So they play the winner of Butler Providence. They win that game. Then they play the winner of Marquette
the
Xavier
thing,
to go
I
to the
think they
finals.
lose.
Yeah, I
they'll
think
lose
they're good there. I love UConn though. I really like UConn plus 410. Again, same logic as March Madness. I just bet on the coach. He knows how to win these games. Yep. He's an absolute demon when it comes to scheming and defense. I mean, he almost got hired by the damn Lakers last year. Dan Hurley's an absolute legend. And they're on the other side of the bracket of St. John's. So they won't have to play till the finals. If UConn wins their game, Creighton wins their game. It's UConn-Creighton, and then the winner that will probably play St. John's. I think they can beat Creighton. They're second in odds. So, give me UConn plus 410.
Yeah, so I clearly am all over St. John's here, and let me tell you why. So, also, I do F with Creighton a little bit. I like them.
Censoring himself is crazy.
I do F with Creighton.
You like
I F with Creighton a little bit. But no, let me tell you. So, I went to Nashville last week. Sorry for missing the pod, but
there was a comment asking, where's Mike?
Yeah. I was in Nashville, get my yeehaw on.
Thanks for addressing that.
Yeah.
People want to know.
People did want to know.
I mean, I'm here for information. But let me tell you about something. So I took an Uber. This guy was a deep set New York, very knowledgeable. The guy was he was a big St. John's guy. He was a Giants fan and a Nets fan. So he's known mediocrity his entire life, let me tell you. But the way that this guy...
Giants have won
Super Bowls.
I think Giants have like 4 Super Bowls, right?
Yeah,
especially recently.
Look, the guy's just, come on.
He knows mediocrity.
Come on. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
I know mediocrity when I smell it. And
Whoa!
I agree with that.
Yes.
Yeah.
You do watch a lot of Texas football.
What? And let me tell you, this guy was so pumped on this St. John's team. Apparently, they brought in a new head coach who's just unreal last year, and he did great. And now this year, it's even better. I'm going to believe in this guy and ride with
What's
him.
his name?
I have no idea.
You don't know the St. John's coach that they got? This one, maybe just he's having a good year.
Are you going to Google it while we're asking?
Oh, no.
No, Google it.
I thought you were asking about my Uber driver's name.
Oh. Continue.
So, yeah, I'm all over St. John's because if this guy believes, I believe.
All right, Mario.
Huge coach, though. They have a really good coach that you think's having a good year.
It's an Uber driver.
It's the Uber driver?
He was talking about the Uber driver.
You weren't talking about the coach.
No,
you
it wasn't
anything
talking
about the coach.
He said it was a really good Uber driver.
Nothing
No,
about the
that-
coach.
Nothing about the coach.
You don't care about
He
the
doesn't
coach
care
at all.
about the coach. at
No,
all.
I do. Okay.
Okay, just continue.
Mario,
Okay,
go ahead.
that's fine.
All right.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm with Tyler. I like UConn here. I think it's going to be a tough game between them and Creighton. I think the winner of that game wins the tournament. So Creighton's a good pick as well. But UConn, it's just hard not to bet money on them, and
Yeah.
you're getting like decent odds. So
Yeah, 4.1 to 1. And I also do recognize Villanova's owned this tournament for the last decade. So if
Yeah.
you like Villanova
they
just for a
murdered
legacy
this
thing,
tournament.
yeah,
plus 1,300 is not the worst bet on Villanova, but they're
Rick
just not
Pitino.
very good this
Rick
year.
Pitino.
Oh, is
Yeah.
that it, Mike? That's the coach?
Of course.
The all-time, one of the greatest
Top 5
college
basketball coach
of
ever.
all time.
I didn't know that.
I know.
They
of
got
course
this
not.
new guy
Why?
last year.
He's
got a
rather
new guy.
an unknown.
Unknown. He's
Cinderella
having a great
story.
year, good coaching
Yeah, but
year.
let us know.
Who would have thought?
Let us know what you
Rick
think.
Pitino.
Let us know what you think about
Rick Pitino.
about the different conference champions. There's a lot of bets to take. That's what's fun about college basketball is there's just so much action
Never
in the
stops.
month of
Yeah.
March.
Well, bing
and
bonging
next week
around.
we get to do the bracket. So again, if you made it this far, drop a like, drop a comment, let us know what you're thinking, and definitely put a bracket.
Go
in
enter
the,
down below.
bracket
Make it.
challenge. I know brackets haven't
Type it in.
opened yet, so a lot of people are like, well, how the hell would I do that? You can just like pre-enter
your
a
name in.
bracket and then fill it in after.
Yeah.
Do understand if you just want to come back to this video after the brackets go live, feel free to do that as well.
Free $500.
But we will see you. We're talking college basketball the rest of the month as soon as
Oh,
brackets
yeah.
are out.
Whole
So
lot.
stay locked in with us, drop a subscribe, and let us know what you think.
Lock in.